All right, we're live. Hey there, everybody. Good to see ya. It's Wednesday, and had the time. Had a friend that was willing to help. We got Jonathan on board here. You can say hi to Jonathan. He's like, sure, I'll fill in. He's being gracious, doing it on a very short notice. So how's things going in your neck of the woods there, Jonathan? You doing all right? Okay, good. Okay, sweet. Really? That's cool. We got rain too. It rained here in Arizona. It's not common to have rain here, so well, I guess both of us are having a good rain day. Yeah, right. Yeah, it feels like it's that dry. It does. Okay, here's what we're gonna do today. I told Kara on an email, she has it in writing, that I was going to do Aurora Borealis with polar bears and glacier. This list of things. No, I'm just kidding. It was a good description, and I've never done it, so I was like, let's do it. People like it, so that's the agenda today. I'm going to get started. So, Kara, I see that you're on the live stream. Welcome, and we're doing your idea. We're doing it today, but we're going to look at stuff that's handed in too. So, if you've got projects that you want me to take a look at, it really helps me to be quick and not have a bunch of dead time on the live stream. If you um, I either let me know in the chat, let Jonathan know ahead of time while I'm painting what kind of input you're after, or just put it in a brief email to me. I've got my inbox open, and I was looking at pictures there. We've got some cool stuff in the inbox, and so we've got. Did I say the right name? I'm looking at one from Nora right now, and I just said I was painting a picture from Kara. Forgive me if I scramble names. Yeah, okay. I feel like I'm going to scramble the names together. Okay. So I'm looking at some cool projects in my inbox, but I have to review exactly what kind of advice is needed from these. So if you can give me a hand with that, that would be great. Actually, I'll have to log back into my I'll have to log back into my email. Give me a moment here. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. I'm trying to open my email here, and it seems that I forgot how to do it. We're going to get that done. Let's paint a little bit first. We'll come back to this. We'll get something to look at. Okay, so let me share my computer screen with you. We're going to do some homework. We got to research what polar bears look like. Now, I've never painted these, so we're going to do polar bear. Is polar bear two words, Jonathan? Okay. I'm sorry. Polar bear. And is Northern Lights same thing as Aurora Borealis? Same phenomenon, right? Like it's not two different things. So I'm just being transparent about my ignorance. Let's look at images. Now, remember when the world didn't have AI images? Does anybody remember that? Relatively short time ago. So I have to sort through this and find all the non-AI images. It's getting harder. Well, even if it's convincing, it might be giving you some wrong information. It's tricky. You were talking about that in an earlier conversation we had. We were talking about feedback loops, AI accidentally learning from its own material. So it's kind of like untraining itself at that point. You know. Yeah, I see an eye. I see an eye on this little bit. Yeah, it's just tiny. Well, this seems like we don't know. Hmm. And the extremely flat horizon that has no gradient change to me looks like artificial. That looks either AI or just digital art. Perhaps it could be either one. or it could be a result of AI accidentally learning from itself. Let's see if we can find. Yeah, yeah, right. Let's see some others. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure there's some. You know what? Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking for inspiration. Okay, so I'm noticing that there's a shape. You know, if you learn one animal, it helps you learn other animals. Oh, my bad. Let me get that. Oh, now they can. That was my bad. Sorry. Everybody say hi to Jonathan. Here we go. Jonathan's here. Hey, let's give a test to make sure everybody can. I had your microphone off on my switcher board. That was my bad.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
You can't hog my audio, Joe. Everyone wants to hear it.
Yeah, right. Hello, Jonathan, says Raluca. Oh, well, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm sorry about that. Gosh, I feel kind of silly. It's hard, you know, I don't have a good excuse, but I have a small excuse. I'm multitasking. Oh, I've done it enough times. I should have caught that. I'm sorry. So we've got a whole intro to the video with me talking to somebody you can't hear. Yeah. And tonight, Jonathan, you are someone.
We're testing everyone's lip reading abilities.
Right.
Except for my video was gone half the time too. So.
What? Oh man, I am such a dummy. Yeah. Oh well, yeah, it was gone half the time because I was searching it. Okay. Well, we got Jonathan here. So we're looking for the non-AI images. You know what's important about polar bears? I was talking about learning to do an animal, learning to paint, draw an animal. I like to learn the anatomy before I even start painting. You know what? Let's just search polar bears instead of making the search real broad. Let's go like this. Let's do polar bear on our image search and just learn. I feel like we're not far enough into the future just yet that we can't find the AI images, but we're getting there. It's starting to become obnoxious. All right, we got some good images. We're going to check them out. So if you learn to paint one animal, then you get better at painting others because it's not like they have different sets of parts, you know, like ears, eyes, nose, mouth. So I focus on the geometry of forehead, snout, and skull. The geometry of those three things is really helpful. So when I'm looking at a polar bear, I see a really large snout that leaves very little forehead pointing forward, small ears. I see a large skull proportion compared to the eyes. So really, you know, if we just take what might be some other ordinary proportioned animal, shrink the eyes, and make the snout merge with the forehead, then you know, that seems like a good way to do a polar bear. Like I was saying earlier. Yeah, we got babies. Yeah, and you know, there's a universal. Yeah, there's a universal rule with babies. Baby humans are the same way. The skull and face bones continue to grow as things age. I've even seen it with reptiles. It seems like animals in general have this pattern. So it's not just in cartoon characters that babies have big eyes. They really do have larger eyes in proportion to the skull. So we have like smaller cheekbones, smaller jawbone, smaller skull all together on top of those, you know, as well as those things. And then that makes the eyes bigger in proportion. But I don't know if the eyes are bigger in comparison to the nose. I guess they are, because based on this picture, they look like a lot more equal sized dots than they do on this mama. The mama bear's got like a mega nose. So when we want to make a real big, mature looking character, shrinking the eyes is a really important component of that. But let's move on. We're trying to learn how to paint a polar bear. Let's look at some different angles. Here's a good one. Let's look at some young ones. You know, tossing and turning in the snow. I don't know if I'm looking at an AI image. I don't know.
What do you think, John? but that looks like a pretty good. I don't know. Pretty good format for painting cute little bears.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Yeah, it really is. This is cool. I'm noticing a a really high shoulder blade and super large arms. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to sketch one. Let's get something to sketch on. I'm gonna switch to my whiteboard. We're gonna get my practice whiteboard and see if I can sketch a polar bear, and perhaps we can figure out a format.
Kara's recommending that you use stock cake. Says they
for photos.
Photo references.
Okay, that's cool. What's it called?
Stock cake. One
Stock
word,
cake. Do you have to have an account? Can you go right there? I don't want to sign up for a new account on something, you know. But if we can go right there, look, I'll do it right now. Yeah, you can check it out. You can be the.
I'll check it out and let you know.
Screener. That's your job. It's to screen suggestions. All right, here's my whiteboard. I'm gonna draw.
Maybe
a polar
I'll
bear.
screen it before I tell you next time. Give you like
yeah, right. Okay, this is what I'm seeing for the head. I'm seeing a nose that is big, not too triangle. If I go to this image, you know, a cat has a real triangle nose, but I'm seeing on this one that the shape is round at the bottom as well as round at the top. I see a shape like this. I see a shape that rounds at the top and then goes, whoop, flips up right there. And I know what that is because it's on lots of other animal noses. That's where the bottom edge of the nostril goes up under the furry top of the snout. So here, if we saw the nose holes, they'd be right in here like this, like that. That'd be the nose, and it'd probably have a split down the middle. Okay, that's the polar bear nose, and they've got a real big snout. So let's kind of put it in perspective like this. Let's do this. Now, here's a trick. If you want to get good at memorizing what something looks like, draw it from memory and then correct. Okay, this is largely opinion. My opinion is you get a lot of improvement out of this exercise. Just do it from memory. So I'm not looking at the computer right now. I'm going to look at it to edit. And do that. I'm going to do some cheekbones. I'm going to do a large snout, and I'm going to do a flat forehead. This is my polar bear forehead. My tiny little polar bear ears, like this. Let's go shorter on this side because that one's kind of behind. You know, it's like rotated this way. Okay, now I'm going to pick this apart and see, because now it's kind of like, you know, I feel like it's kind of like in a conversation. You lay all the things on the table, the conversation's slow getting started. Once you've built a context, everybody's moving quicker because there's not like thinking happening to get the right context. Well, I think short-term memories like that, you can get it all on a canvas, and then it's more available to edit your actual memory. This is my theory, but for me, it seems to work well. So I'm going to edit that image. I'm going to check out my polar bears. I would say that I perhaps put the jowls a bit long based on this one. Yep, based on this one too. I'd say my ratio of the hanging down, it looks kind of like a hound dog. Mine, you know, so that's an edit. My jaws kind of went down far, and maybe I've seen that on black bears or on
I think a little
bear.
flatter of a head too. I see a nice round head, almost more like I think maybe a grizzly looks more like this.
Yeah.
The polar bear has kind of a flat forehead.
Yeah, very flat. Ah, good observation. That's good. Let's see if there's more. Okay. Oh yeah, you're right about that flat head. It kind of goes up from the ears and then almost has a divide in the middle, like a double. Yeah. Right? Very flat. You're right about that. Very flat. And there is a brow. I'm noticing, you know, here's a big mature one. I'm noticing that there is a brow, but that forehead is so flat. So that's good, you know, that's good to understand. And those ears, did I get the ears in the right spot? Let's see my picture. I would say I got them a little close to the eye. Notice I made the eyes big. Even after all that talk about little eyes, I made the eyes almost the same size as the nose. Okay, so here's what I do. I come in here. I'm not copying anything. I'm using my existing three-dimensional knowledge, as inferior as it may be. It's really basic, you know, but that's okay because this is a process of building up my 3D understanding of the subject. Because when I sketch it out on a canvas, I want to have nice free flow to my creativity. I don't want to be stopping every few seconds because it breaks momentum, and I have to switch subjects in my mind, think about something different. Okay, we're not going down as far on that. I got, got a little bit excited on those jowls that come down. Okay, now there's information that I don't remember well. I remember we did this. It kind of goes up and then it's going to go across and real flat like Jonathan pointed out. There we go. That's an improvement. I think that's definitely an improvement. Okay, this is going to come in here and I'm just going to make it go straight back, maybe this far, and just end the mouth right there. And I'm going to leave the jaw, going to leave the chin this size. I'm going to make this have a closed mouth, and then we're going to put, let's put a back that's going way up like this because we got those shoulder blades are real high like this.
Raluca pointed out that maybe under the nose is more like a dog. And I think as you made those changes, I see more of a dog appearance as you change this more to look like the polar bear.
Yeah, I did. She's right. I think she's right because the jowls that, that's this part, the jowls, I made them hanging down. I made them real arched, and that's very hound dog like, or like dogs have those hanging down. And perhaps that was something based on a memory from seeing other pictures. I don't know, but this is why we do the process. I think I get more value out of doing it wrong and correcting it than I do out of doing it right the first time, because the learning process is always real beneficial to me.
That is what life is, though, isn't it? It's very hard to get it right. It's a lot easier to try
adjust.
And learn from mistakes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. It's like getting up on a bike. Okay, this bear has hardly any chin. I'm noticing very round eyes. There's a roundness to that bottom eyelid. I'm noticing the corner of the eye doesn't point down. It's not as cat-like. And that seems like it's a real distinct feature of the polar bear, actually. Like
almost no socket there.
Almost no socket. Yeah, you're right about that. They're kind of right there on the end. It is a unique look. Yeah, there's not. I don't know a lot of other animals that have that unique nuance. The eye being right on the surface, yet being small, and then the corners pointing straight across instead of pointing down the nose. Because if I do other animals, like if we did a dog, then we go to images. The corner of the eye points down the nose. If we look at this picture, see how the corner of the eye is way down here? It like points down this line between the nose. So I just you can see that I had dog in my brain when I was doing the polar bear. But look at the corner on this. So this is like straight across. The inside corner doesn't seem much lower than the outside. That's really interesting.
It's almost like the eyes are more turned a little bit to look be able to look away for like the peripheral vision looks like it might be a little bit bigger on these.
I wonder, but this is the first time ever really paying attention to this, but it's a distinct feature. This is unique.
Yeah.
Those corners are pointing to each other and there's no slant. If we go back to the dog, dogs and cats alike, from outside corner to inside corner. So outside corner is here, inside is here. If we draw a straight line with both, it ends up pointing down the nose. And I would say a lot of people are that way, maybe a little more than half. I don't know. Cats really point down. So my point is this is a new thing for me. And I like to take time to really soak that in because it makes me remember it. And look how distinct that high round. Here's an interesting thing. Okay. I can't help but see elements of design in animals. Like if anyone's ever tried to invent an animal, it's really hard to make one not ugly. So check this out. Do you see how this arch is the same arch that's on top of the head? Isn't that weird? It's like the nose resembles the entire larger picture of the head. What a fascinating relationship. I think that's so cool. It's like you could plug little ears right onto the edge of these corners and you'd have the polar bear turned into a black bear with big giant skull holes for Halloween. Okay, anyway.
I see it almost 3 times because you get it on the top of the head, the brow, and then again on the nose.
Right. Yeah, like repeating pattern. And there's something about it just looks nice. You know, it's like it's just really nicely put together. All right, let's look at a couple more pictures. There's the eye slant again, right there. Definitely a distinct thing right there. Almost no forehead. The chin does not come down. They have a very narrow snout. That's interesting. I bet that has to do with their really aerodynamic swimming shape. You know, they just like when they point into the wind or the water. You know, look at that. The chin is just not huge. So I'm going to edit that. Let's go here, make the chin smaller. We don't want that. We actually have just kind of a little shadow under that. And then this mouth is just real little right here. So then this would just be like fur coming down. Okay, what do you think? How's our polar bear looking? Short in the mouth? It's just a short mouth.
So I pulled up like a dolphin to do a swimming face comparison, and I think you're right. I think it's got the aerodynamics structure here has to do with it being a swimmer.
Yeah, yeah,
the dolphin also has these eyes that aren't inside of socket; they're on the outside of the face, kind of the same way.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's just like a great swimmer design. All right, that's cool. All right. So I feel like I've learned the face of a polar bear. Good enough for my sketch. I can further learn about the tiny features of it as I progress in my painting. So there's the head, and I feel like I could draw this from different angles now because it's not extremely different than other animals. So we got a side view. Let's do the snout here. Like this, tiny chin, right? Tiny forehead, little ears, like this, little tiny eyes, right here, dark nose, and then we got a neck back to high, shoulders that come down and go to the body right there. This looks a little weird to me. What's wrong with that? Let's go back. Let's edit a little bit. What is weird about my profile?
I think your face comes too far back behind the head. Your cheeks are coming back.
Is that it? Here, let's look.
The one you've got right now, those cheeks stay in front of that ear.
Okay. Well, we need a right ratio. And I notice ratios are hugely important on anatomy. So I noticed right away that I don't think you're wrong that it's in the cheeks, but look at this ratio. I think we've got yet another instance of the golden ratio here, forehead to nose. And it occurs a lot in faces where, you know, it's like not quite split in half, not quite split in thirds, somewhere in between. Look at the length of forehead back to the ear compared to the length of snout here. So this one's a little shorter, this one's a little longer. Maybe not golden ratio, I don't know. I just, you know, I always like to look for it because it seems magical.
I bet if we measured it, we'd get
1.618. Yeah. Okay, but I do notice that I've got it backwards, and ratios are real important. So I put the forehead shorter than the snout, and I bet that if I get that forehead up here and then put that little eye, oh, and I forgot the level eyes. Level eyes. Right there. And then they've got a real pronounced, strong jaw. So that's kind of a shadow. You know, there's little lines or shadows. Look how you can see. I'll just use lines to suggest it, but see this shadow. The shape of a cheekbone is real important to a creature. So I want to make sure that I put a couple lines to represent that. All right. I think I've got a little bit better design here. We're going to do this. We're going to put the tiny, and I probably made the nose once again too dog-like. Okay, let's go like that. Now, we got a neck that comes in here. Man, Man, I thought I was just going to like ace this and do it real quick. I am not as versed in drawing polar bears as
we haven't even gotten to the glacier or the aurora.
Man, we haven't even gotten to it. We haven't even gotten to it. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be able to draw this character tomorrow.
A lot of new things you're going to have to throw all in one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Big shoulder blades.
A new recipe, if you're cooking, you never want to do a new recipe and a new ingredient at the same time if you're serving guests. You got to stick to the recipe you know really well, and it's okay to tamper with it if you know the recipe.
Yeah.
Or you stick to ingredients you know really well, and it's okay to try a new recipe. But you're serving guests, you don't bring a new recipe and new ingredients to the table.
Yeah. Right.
But Joe, you're experienced enough. I'm going to trust that you know both the ingredients and the recipe here. Man,
I'm trying. But I'll tell you, pride is the enemy of learning. I did, I like to teach about anatomy and faces, but the angle that I approach it with now is how to learn it and retain it, because I just had such a sense of identity in how skilled I was doing faces without training. I just felt like, no, I'm not going to look at all of these guides and read and do homework and take assignments from others. They don't, they're not worthy teachers, I felt. But man, I was wrong. I jumped in and put the eyes too high. I didn't know. There was so much stuff I didn't know. And I felt like I was so skilled at doing other things. It was very confusing, a real identity shaker to do some bad portraits. So if you're one of those customers that got a bad portrait from me years ago, bring it to me. I'll change it. But it was a great learning experience, and let me encourage you. It is not a representation of your potential, your ability as an artist. There is like, things that don't come into the conscious thinking happening to make us, to give us reactions to faces. We have to rely on a lot of time and research that have brought those things to conscious attention, so we can mechanically manipulate those things. So you could save yourself a lot of headache by looking at, and not just mine. I say look at anybody's research patterns and develop a method of finding new stuff on your own. Yeah. With anatomy, it's just hugely helpful. Don't tell yourself that you already know what's important. That's like self-defeating. Okay, Jonathan.
Totally agree with you on that one.
I have to get some water. I forgot to get some water, so you can see that on my tray here. I'm all set up, but all I'm missing is my water. So I'm gonna go and do that. You just tell some dad jokes, perhaps. No, don't do it. Don't do that.
I'm just gonna sit here and entertain your crowd for you while you're
just hang tight. I'll be back in a second.
Let's plot against him while he's not here. How can we throw a wrench in his plan? I really, on top of this live streaming last minute, I wasn't planning on a video of his paint palette and me doing some audio voiceover for you. So
yeah, you weren't planning on that, right?
I didn't have any plans for a last minute voiceover. I 30 seconds. No, nothing in the chat said that I was failing you here, and only 2 people left, so I did a good enough job.
They're like, I'm out of here. These people don't know what they're doing. It's all right. It's all right. We're going to continue this on this coming Sunday. We're moving the regular. If anybody didn't get the email, the regular live stream would be happening on Saturday, and so we're moving it to Sunday. Man, I have a hard time.
Construction going on next door, Joe?
Oh yeah, that was some kind of a power tool. Yeah. Yep, there's some of that going downstairs. We got all kinds of stuff going on. All right, I'm putting some black on. We're going to sketch a picture in black and white, and then we'll add color. This is the kind of scene where I really feel like I want to tinker with the shapes and values before I start messing with color. So, because I'm unfamiliar with it. I want to.
That paint bottle brings up a question from earlier in the chat. Someone wants to know if you've ever rinsed off your paintbrush inside your coffee mug, or if you've ever drinking your paint water by mistake.
You know what? I have done that. I have done that. My daughter got me a mug that says not paint water, but it doesn't help. I still go and I accidentally go. I think the worst I've done is just a little dunk in it. I think that's the worst I've done. I don't think it's been terrible.
You still
all right, how are we gonna? I think I have actually done it though. You know, I think I have. All right, if we're on a glacier, man, what's this gonna look like? You know, we're gonna put like some kind of a. I think it'd be cool to have some kind of a land formation. You know, glaciers maybe have a lot of geometry to the shape, like melty looking edges. You know, so let's put something floating in the water right there. This is my idea, is that we have an edge kind of going down into the water right here. So this is going to be like a melty edge. I'll use a lot of blues to get this edge in here, and then this will be water. So we'll get water kind of through here. These will be little ripples. You know, we'll just do a impression of water. Water, you know, if you just make the same direction to all your lines, you can do an impression of water very quickly just by making sure you keep the angles all similar. Okay, we got water coming up to the edge of an iceberg of some sort. Do you think there'd be mountains? You know, if we're way up there, I don't think you'd see big mountains, right?
I think it depends what direction you look. I think if you're looking out to sea toward the North Pole, I'm guessing down.
Yeah,
I think if you turn around, though, Anchorage, or Alaska, is known for its mountains, beautiful mountains.
Yeah, right. But if we're talking about glaciers, are there polar bears in the Anchorage area? You wouldn't have polar bears down that low, right? I don't think so. All right, let's put some kind of a landscape in here. We just got hills, and it's just going to be ice and snow. You know, it's just going to go back like that. So we're coming up to the edge. So somebody chime in if you know more than I do about this landscape. I don't feel confident about the mountains. I just don't feel like I've seen. I don't feel like I've seen a lot of that happening.
Right, we've got Amanda from Alaska.
Okay.
Okay. No polar bears in Anchorage, only black bears.
I wonder if we could do like, right, okay. There are moose.
Amanda,
I have seen moose there.
Though? Should we expect mountains and glaciers in the same landscape?
What if we did like,
Joe, is you're painting and you get to create, so you can.
Yeah, we can just decide. We can just decide
mountains where there shouldn't be any.
I know, but I want something relatable. You know, relatability is an important element. So like, this is where I think modern entertainment kind of loses value, is they do a whole lot of things just because they're excited that they can. You know, creators do things because they can, but it's not relatable story.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, my thinking is we've got like the edge. What if we did like upward? What if we made the perspective very like looking up? So we could take the horizon down. We can make this like you're looking up at the edge of a glacier. That was the sound of breaking.
Like one that has started to sink into the water and has rotated.
Yeah. So glaciers are fun, and that was part of the order is glaciers. So I'm gonna put like some, you know, like flat shapes of broken off, cleaved off chunks of ice. It's going to come down, but I've got perspective to it. It's going up, up, up like that. And then we'll drop down the horizon.
You could add some motion, have one cleaving in the moment of your painting, have the water starting to splash away as huge chunks start to crack off.
That'd be pretty awesome. I have to admit that would be pretty awesome. Okay, let's see how we might do that. If we have a big curve right here.
Right, Amanda says polar bears, not in Anchorage. Glaciers with polar bears, maybe less mountains. Although they do have lots of, she said they do have lots of mountains in Anchorage, but
Okay.
no Russia. So
okay,
if you start painting Russia, we know your painting's fake.
How would you know if I was painting Russia? Distant continent.
It's actually it has to do with proportions, and you get your proportions correct, and that looks like Russia.
Right. Okay. Wow, you actually got an answer locked and loaded for me on that one. Nice job.
I stole it from the polar bear discussion.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Boy, we got a hammer drill down there going to town. That's what that noise is.
It sounds like hammer on work.
Yeah. Well, I did tell him, I said, hey, it's just a random live stream. You don't have to stop what you're doing. That's the people I rant from. So this was spontaneous. This is a glimpse into my daily routine, my life here. It's a work zone.
All right. You've got to decide, as far as the mountains, you got to decide, is this a glacier?
This is a glacier. It's fun.
Or is this a glacier down in the ocean? If it's in the ocean, less mountains. If it's up in the mountains, then you can have the glacier and the mountains.
I'm gonna make like a more dramatic view, a low horizon, and like we're down low, looking up at the top of our glacier here. That's the look I'm gonna go for. So this is gonna like continue. This is broken off edges of a glacier by the sea. This is an area. This is where it's fallen off. I'm gonna do exactly what you said. This is gonna be clouds, splashing water right here, coming out, and that'd be fun if we kind of exaggerate the light of the Aurora Borealis bouncing off of the splash.
Oh yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Be good.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if it's gonna be. We're hoping. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be cool. I like that. Okay.
It looks pretty good already.
All right, thanks. Now we're gonna need the.
Just sell this for $1 million.
Yeah. Let's put one puller. We need more than one polar bear because things are happier in families. So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna do a polar bear looking down. Now this is why I did all the study, because I don't want to be guessing my way through this. Let's put one head studying the water right here, like this. Okay, this is gonna be eye. This is that double forehead. These are the little ears right here, and this is the snout coming down, very triangular, and forehead a little bigger than nose. So we'll get the ratios to look right here. And then we're going to go real big shoulder blades right here. We got real powerful, large arms standing by the shoreline. Then we're going to put the round shape behind the high shoulder blade. The high shoulder blades, I got to look at that. I think the neck goes high all the way in the middle, but maybe it's, I need to look if we've got the middle higher than the shoulder blades or the shoulder blades higher than the middle. I don't know which one it would be. Maybe it depends on the individual bear.
My memory when you're looking at them is that the whole bear has a pretty cone shape from its snout all the way to its hind is kind of this one continuous cone.
Yeah. This is where we're gonna rep. Now, I want to know. I want to do a shoulder blade shot here, but I think it's pretty round. Yeah. See, look at this one. See how you see the neck shoulder blade? It kind of just rounds over the top. It's not like bonier creatures, dogs, cats. Sometimes you'll see multiple, like a spine bump and two shoulder blade bumps, but this is really round. I'm gonna stick with that. I know that on that one the middle is not lower. I can see that, so I'm gonna stick with that for a reference. In the end, believability is more powerful than accuracy, as long as you don't lose that relatable quality that makes people say, oh, look at the polar bears. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't lose that, you're okay.
So, Joe, the chat wants to know, I apologize, I don't remember who asked this, but someone asked if you went to art college. So
no, I didn't, or else I would have made
your training. Where did you get all this skill? I know you studied a lot on your own, just looking at things, but where do you attribute your training?
Just lots and lots of obsessive practice. But if I would have gone to art college and paid attention, I bet I would not have made crooked looking portraits for people. You know, let's give credit where it's due. A lot of people have researched guides and ratios that are really helpful things. And so I don't think that college was the answer for me, but I think a learning attitude was what needed to happen. And so, you know, I think God just had a plan. I ended up going my own route and learning some things the hard way because I was too thick-headed to take advice from anybody. Some people are good at taking advice and they can learn things because of it. But either way, you know, I did tons of practice, and after a solid 20 years doing it, I think I've got something to show for it. Okay, here's my polar bear body. I think that'll do the trick for that.
You took art in high school, I assume. You took some
I
art
did,
classes
yeah.
at some point, right?
Yeah, and you know, when I think when you're at that level of education, it's practice. The practice is what's making the difference. Although, you know, it probably just depends on who your teacher is. I think there's people out there that are real knowledgeable and real helpful if you're lucky to get one of them. You know, but as a system, I think just lots of practice ends up being the most valuable thing. Yeah, I think I discovered that, you know, I've been asked many times, you know, I hope I'm not going too long on that subject, but I've been asked many times where I learned about color. And the answer is the same. It's like obsessive practice. But I think I just had a love for the patterns and for the process of looking at patterns of shape. You know how sometimes you just tend to love something more than other people normal, like what's normal. Tend to love something more than normal. And I think that makes it stick in your memory. And I just tended to be that way when it came to colors and patterns. I just started getting really, really just fascinated with it. Sorry, I know it just seems like I'm scribbling over the same lines over and over.
Well, you might have more scribbling. Kara wants you to have the polar bear looking up at the aurora borealis to tell more of a story.
Well, we're not doing just one polar bear.
Okay. Well, next one.
Yeah.
This one's looking at the water. Next one's looking at the glacier crashing, and the next one's looking at the aurora borealis. They're going, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Everything is changing. The world's in commotion.
Okay, let's do another one right here. And this is kind of what I'm feeling here is we're going to do mouth, nose, and we're going to do that flat forehead going down here. And then we're going to, I think that'll be cool. Let's do that level eye.
Well,
let's do that.
Good artists, and I'll put you included in that.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. You're hired for the next live stream.
Oh, perfect. I'm hired. I have no volunteer status anymore.
Oh, wait, I said that wrong.
You, at the time I started that comment, you had about 4 brush strokes on the canvas, and I could already see a polar bear. And it's amazing to me. Like a little streak that was a forehead, a little streak that was an eye, one that was a nose, and then one was like the mouth and the bottom of the snout.
That's interesting.
I already saw a polar bear. It's very, very interesting when people can have that much control to convey something with so little paint on the canvas.
Huh. Yeah, that's an interesting observation. I wonder I wonder what the key component of that is, why that happens. I think, you know, the lines that I choose are the lines I'm affected by. You know, it's like I love the lines have a feeling to me. They don't. It's not just a analytical symbol. You know, it actually has a feeling to it. So that line that makes the back, it's hard for me to forget the contour of that because it has a feeling. And so I think I select the lines based on based on that reaction that I get from them. Interesting. Thanks. I'm glad. I used to watch my dad draw, and I felt really, what am I trying to say? Mesmerized. It was like watching a magic show. Watching my dad draw. Now I watch him draw, and it's it's just like hanging out with a friend, like us.
Yeah.
Everything's normalized. Okay, here's my dilemma. I feel like another bear would look really good in here, but I got a big splash.
That peninsula, it knows that glacier's coming, and it's jumping away from the glacier crashing. Like it's mid leap. It's just leaving the ground, ready to find some safety.
I'm listening to what you're saying. So maybe we can make it kind of, well, I don't know if I can do mid leap. That's going to look funny. I don't know if I know how to do. Maybe we can make it hustling up the hill while it kind of looks back. Here, let's turn this into, tell me how this looks. We can change it. Okay. This isn't set in stone. It is paint. It is unerasable paint, but it's not set in stone. What if we do kind of a running posture? So this leg's going back right here. All right. And this one is coming this way. Here's that round rear leg like this. And then we got to make the head. And we can make the head just like the other one, but then what I don't like about that is that I've got two bears in the same position. But if they're reacting to the same thing, then maybe it's appropriate. I don't know. What do you think? We can change it. What's your reaction? Okay, there's the head. There's the head. He's turning. He's looking out here as he kind of runs out of the way. Like this. Make a little ear, eye. Does that look exactly like a polar bear head or what?
Exactly. I fear for my life already.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get the.
I think you know what it does is you talked earlier about repetition and the beauty of repetition. So what I see is you've got these two bears. The far one and the near one, their heads are the same shape, pointing the same direction, but at different distances. And then you've got the bodies in different shapes. So it's not the entire bear repeating, but still gives that kind of kind of mimicking their head. Kind of like the glaciers as well. So
something's grabbing attention. So you don't feel like it's redundant. You're not getting the vibe that this is too redundant for our picture.
I'm not getting that vibe, but maybe when you add all the color in, we can.
We'll see. Okay.
I've seen you change the complete posture of an animal after the painting looked like it was almost done. So.
Yeah.
I'm not worried for you here. I think once you get closer to the end, you'll see if it's fitting or not.
I want a good plan, So
that's true.
I'm trying to be professional about it. All right, high cliffs. I want to make these cliffs higher. More drama. Okay, perspective going up. We're like out on little peninsula coming out of the base of a glacier, real big glacier wall. We're going to get rid of this line. That was old horizon right there. It's going to go away.
Val says that polar bears don't hunt in packs. They're only together during mating season. So.
Oh. Well, this one's like a family.
Adds a different story than we expected here.
Oh, okay.
This is a family. It's a child and his parents, and they're all together enjoying this trip together to go see the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
They're just camping out here.
Yeah. And it's not the first glacier break they've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like they're not that startled by it. They're bears. They're not like jumping out of their skin. Okay. There we go. That's it. That's my plan. So we need the Aurora Borealis in here. I wanted to leave room for it, but my thinking is it's going to be somewhere up in here. Let's just see what happens. Let's see if any interesting swirly lines pop out at me. It's I really like the way this is just a plan. This is not, this is not colors. Okay, we're going to make some vertical lines coming down like so. You know, maybe darker sky will be coming down in here. I noticed that it always resembles in the pictures. I've only seen pictures. My wife actually went and saw it from Wisconsin, all the way down in Wisconsin. You know, sometimes we see northern lights down here in Arizona. We actually do. Every once in a while.
It's pretty wild.
Possible to see it. Yeah, but it's more like just a colorful sky on the horizon. It's not this dramatic light show.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of a thing.
The Northern Lights are one of the few things on my bucket list. I would really, really love to see them.
That'd be cool.
I enjoy every sunset that I see. So to imagine an aurora borealis and just these shafts
really
of
be
light
amazing.
swirling and changing colors, just
yeah, it'd really be amazing. All right, we're gonna put like kind of like a portal opening up in the sky here. We're gonna put gradient. So my idea is where I have the black, that might be like a nighttime sky color. Then these will be the swirls of color coming down. Lots of wiggle room to change that as I go. All right, time to start adding color. But hey, what do you say we take a look at a few submissions from the inbox? Let's go over here. Yeah, give me a minute though, because I accidentally closed my inbox. And I did not mean to do that. So let's go to mail here. Give the computer a minute to work and open this up.
So I won't hold you on that hiring me thing for next time. I'll keep my volunteer status. But I think what we should do is do a live like in person. We go see the aurora borealis and we go there and paint it like in person, watching them live.
That'd be cool.
And I'll just come along with you so I can help on the live stream.
All right. I say yes to that. I definitely say yes to that. But can I make it happen? I don't know. I don't know. Here's something cool from let's see. Here's something cool from Entertainment Hub is the username here. Check this out. This was from last live stream. Those of you that watched we did some modification to some snow. And I just want to say great work on this, man. Fantastic work on this modification to the snow. Beautiful colors. Man, it just looks so good. And now I understand what that dark shadow was in the front of that first rendering I saw. That snow looks spot on. That's beautiful snow. So good.
I love the light coming in between. You can't really see the cracks of the train from this perspective, but then they show the light going through the cracks of the train. I really like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is really nicely done. This is kind of the lighting that I want to get right now, isn't it? A lot of blue with the snow, but I need to go darker on mine so that we can see so that I can make the northern lights real extreme. Yeah, that's beautiful work there from this is from Entertainment Hub is the name. Aaron, it's Aaron. Nice work, Aaron. I was looking for a name there. Aaron, you did a great job. Thank you for sharing this with us. That's really cool to look at.
We kind of have a before and after of last time they submitted it to you as well, right? I think in that same email they showed.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, that was the before. So we had the first one you showed. This was in progress, and so I think it was really amazing progress. And Aaron was saying, why are the colors looking not like snow? Why are they looking muddy? So we did a whole analysis of that, and like Aaron aced the improvement on that picture. Just looks so good. That change is amazing. So nice work, Aaron. Love it.
That's great.
All right, if anybody else wants to send the work, I've got one from Nora here. She's working on a cool one, but Nora, I'm going to get back to you later on this one. She sent one in because I need to fully understand the context. I need to study it a little bit longer, so I'm not just saying nonsense. If anybody wants to hand anything in, send it to share@muraljoe.com. We can look at it right here on the show. And I'm trying to do videos during the week here and there too on things that make good subject videos, you know. All right, time to put some color in. We've got blue. I think blue will look really good in these glaciers. Why don't we just skip right to the fun stuff? Let's start putting color on a polar bear. Let me get my brush. I got a brush over here that's better for this polar bear.
Kara is happy with what you've done so far too. She says this is exactly what she was looking for.
Does that pass the test? Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's good. You know, I wasn't sure if that was going to cut it. All right. You know, people have things they love. You know, if it was like, find me a good guitar song to somebody that loves guitar, you're like, you know, you could do it wrong. All I'm saying is it is possible to do it wrong. And so, all right. So for my polar bears, I want light from Aurora Borealis. So I'm going to put, what do you like? Green and magenta light? What in the world am I going to put on this thing? Let's do this bear right here. We're going to go light on the back.
3 days and I know that says you're painting. Well, I'm adding in a little bit. This isn't totally
okay.
set up.
Okay.
I'm spicing it up a little bit.
Thanks.
Painting looks so good. It looks like 4 dimensions.
Whoa.
You're taking this 2-dimensional panel, not just into the 3rd, but also the 4th dimension. That's kind of what we were going for, though, right? Is we're bringing in some time there. I don't know if they meant time, but
yeah. Okay. Well, when you put it that way, I can relate. Yeah. A sense of motion. Perhaps we could interpret the 4th dimension as a sense of motion in the work for practicality. See, wow, thank you for the compliment. That's really nice. I appreciate it. I'm going to put a little bit of a
prideful, and then with that extra pride, you're going to
I'll be
like another painting, and then have to start the whole process over.
I'm going to be totally immune to improvement. Improvement will never find me.
I'm going to stop complimenting your work so that you can to improve.
Right. I'm going to need to use some blue and purple in this. Blue is really beautiful in a nighttime scene, especially with snow. So I got some blue right here, but it can turn so green when it hits other colors. So I've got to have purple on hand as well in order to make this blue merge with my more gold colored highlight. So blue, purple, yellow can be a real attractive combo. So I'm going to just do a rough style here to get my backlit polar bear. As it gets lighter, I need to add the yellower colors. But just like Aaron with his snow project, I'm thinking the exact same idea. I need to not go straight to the yellow as I get lighter. I need to work my way toward the yellow. It's getting more purple before it gets more yellow so that I don't accidentally get like a brown. But polar bears do have a little brown, so maybe I won't go as pure white colors as I would on the snow. That's just my thinking. You know, I know that that's not like giving practical ratios if you're trying to follow along, but it's like just thinking about the process. Okay, that's the fuzzy polar bear back.
Like this bear not looking white, but you just said how good yellow and purple and blue look together. And I was kind of like in the, it's not really abstract to use the wrong color. I don't know what the correct term is for that, but
well, if I use white, it's going to look wrong. You know, a white at night is not white. It's some shade of gray. You know, it's gonna be the nighttime colors. So I'm gonna see how much purple it needs before it looks too brown. So I got yellow and purple that are going to make a lot of brown, but where it looks too brown, I'll use blue. So I'm kind of like getting my dials in place, and I'm going to mess with them until I get the right look. So if I add too much color, it looks like the polar bear is that color. If I keep it gray enough, it'll look like white under a nighttime setting once the rest of the context is in there. And, you know, just having had experience with these colors, I'm predicting the amount to start with, but it could be wrong. We'll see.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'm putting black.
I like the oversaturated, not gray enough, vibrant colors you're putting in there.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Well, maybe I can exaggerate
realistic.
Right? Everything doesn't have to be realistic. Right? I never actually wanted to be that guy that was showing how to do everything realistic. It was a reputation I ended up with at some point of doing things very realistically, but it was just because I was trying to figure out how to make the thing. You know, it wasn't because realism was the ultimate goal. So sometimes I think maybe.
Would you say you have an ultimate goal right now? Like in 20 years, what guy do you want to be?
Man, I just want to be able to answer the questions to, I want this look. How do I get this look? You know, I just want to have full understanding to create whatever you want to create. Because you know, there is a point where we're after something we've experienced before. We're after the representation of some experience. Like I don't just scribble on the canvas. That doesn't appeal to me. So yeah, what I want is I want to be able to render anything I can imagine, and render it well enough that people will walk by and know what my intentions are, know what it is, you know, or just have as much control of that
but really
as possible.
Not realism, but an extreme accuracy to your imagination being portrayed on the canvas.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, I would love to have in my memory just a full anatomy map of every single thing. You know, that'd be cool. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because, you know, I forget it as fast as it gets stored, it seems, these days. But just having a workflow to get where I'm going, like the joy of life is in having an idea and then pursuing it. And, you know, that's my happy place. It's like I've got this idea and I just want the tools that I need to pursue that idea. All right, there's my polar bear forehead. Let's put for now, we're just going to put a little eye right there. Now I purposely put that eye a little bit more, less up and down than I would have on another animal, because I want to capture that. I want to capture that kind of human face quality of the more level eyes. I'm going to put that round nose, make sure it all stays very triangular. Let's borrow some of this darker color and put the shadow right under there, right under that snout. And all of this can be further manipulated. You know, I can real carefully come in with the details after I feel like I've, you know, narrowed down where I want things to be. Like that. There we go. Now I'm going to make that forehead smaller, but I'd say that does the trick for now. See, this has a good nighttime feel. It feels wrong in front of this white background, but watch, it's going to be cool when I get my snowy ground there. We're going to put.
Yeah, last time we were talking about context and sticking a color in the middle of other colors, and you can change what color it was. So what we're having now is we see this bear. I think it looks cool. You say it feels wrong. I like the
well against white, cool. You know.
But I agree. Once you get all those other colors in there, this bear is going to look like it's white with its highlights and shadows on it.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope. Okay, now I'm adding purple to that. I've got this real vivid turquoise, and I'm going to put some purple in there. I added black to it too, so that it's not real intense. I just want a darker. I don't need a cast shadow because we're not like putting the full moon shadow on there. But light in general is less underneath something because it's blocking an amount of the sky. So I just want a gradient. This is like step one to making a 3D thing standing on the ground. okay, I don't know what step 1 is. That was the wrong way to say that. But this is a real important thing. A real important component is the gradient going up to the darker ground beneath it. So we're going to put snow. Maybe my snow is somewhere in this range of brightness, something like that. We got to stay dark enough that I can make a nice glowing scene, you know. Got to stay dark.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring this down and let's load up the purple on this so that it looks like light. If the light is more purple than the shadows are more blue, that'll work well because it creates that same gradient that Aaron used in his picture. So I'm going to make sure that I use the purple in here. Let's go down here, get that polar bear's head outlined here like that. This one's hunting for seals. Still, it's like, I don't care if the world is ending. I need to eat.
Yeah.
Is hungry.
It's either more focused or more aloof. I'm not sure which.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is how it is to have kids. So sometimes children, it's confusing what they're afraid of. It's confusing what they're not afraid of. You know, some fears are learned, while some fears are instinct, right? So maybe this one just doesn't have the instinct to be afraid of a glacier falling. It's like, well, that's just the way things are.
One of our favorite quotes in our family is when my daughter was 2 years old, she was walking on a ledge that on one side it was just the wall for the walkway, but on the other side it dropped maybe 5 feet on some jagged rocks.
Okay.
So she's walking up on top of this ledge, and I don't remember if we even commented or not, but I think she knew we were about to comment, and she goes, "This safe for me."
That's good. I love that.
Don't worry about me up here. I got this.
This is safe for me. She knew what was coming. That's great.
Don't tell me that's not safe, because I've already determined that it is. So
I got it figured out. Yeah, I'm good. Man, that's great. That's a good story. My son trusted me a lot. I got a son that he was not easily injured. He wouldn't like cry when he crashed, and so I was like, Joseph, go try his name's Joseph. Go try a 360 off of that concrete block over there in front of his school. And he just did. He just went for it, ran and jumped and spun, and he did not make it. And he crashed. And all the other parents were looking at me, looking at him, like, what just happened? And I was that dad that just told my son to hurt himself. And then he did. And did that in front of others. Oh, he just a little cry, and he was fine. You know, it wasn't anything extreme, but still, it was not my proudest moment. I was proud of Joseph, but not proud of myself. You know, good job, son.
Yeah.
Always obey me. Always obey me to that extent. Well done.
And hopefully it won't hurt next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a learning curve on parenting too.
There is.
You know.
Yeah, people say I'm not ready to be a dad. I'm like, well, yeah, you are.
That moment doesn't come.
Being dad is having a kid, then you learn how to do it.
Yeah. That moment of readiness doesn't really come around ahead of time. Not if you ask me, anyway. Okay, I'll just point out how I use the bluer colors and allowed the turquoise to show because if this is more melty ice underneath the fresh snow, then, or maybe it's saturated with water, well, that creates a lot more of the translucent glow, where snow has surface reflection, really different gradients. Surface reflection will get more purple as it gets brighter. Translucent glow will shift toward yellow as light shines out of it. So that was the idea. So when I get into these glaciers, it's going to be the same idea. So I'll put here, let's do this cleaved off chunk here. We're going back. Let me move the camera so you can see. Same idea here. I want light coming out of the ice. I want it to look like it's not made out of some opaque material. So we're going to put the blue.
And are you going a little bit longer on the live stream today?
I guess so. What time is it?
It's 2:45.
2:45. When did we start? 1:30.
1:30.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I won't be sad if we hit 2 hours. That'll be okay. But let's work around your schedule. You know, I don't want to push you too far, Jonathan.
I am good. I just was thinking 15 minutes and Joe's got to get all the glaciers and the borealis in there. It's like, I'm going to want more time.
I'm going to continue this. Actually, I'm going to continue this one on Sunday. You know,
Nice.
that's my plan. I'm not going to cut this one short because I actually want this one to be a finished painting. I'm always doing trash, but I'm intending to save this one. So I'm going to be taking a little more time.
Full amount of time.
Yeah, taking a little more time. So we're not going to kill ourselves today trying to get it done.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we got to cut the live stream short or anything.
Yep. So we have Selwyn, if I pronounce it correctly, Selwyn Richards.
Okay.
All the way from New Zealand is
nice.
Saying how much they love your work.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to hear that.
We've got Alaska here. We've got Canada represented.
Cool. That's fun. We got probably a different crowd than we get on the 7 a.m. live stream on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I recognize Raluca.
Welcome back, Raluca.
But Roundbrush Steve and America Marcy.
Some of our familiars.
Saturday crowd.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, so this is fun. We're getting in touch with some other people. I love that. Thank you for being here. Those of you that are watching.
Audit, Amanda Fedewa, Val Thatcher, 3 Days of Darkness.
Hey, Amanda is she lives up there. I was here with Amanda just not long ago working on some Northern Lights, and that was the only time I've ever attempted them other than now. And so now I'm under some pressure. If I know she's watching, there's a little more pressure because she lives there and she was interested in painting them as well. So here,
what are you going to do with your finished work when you finish this on Sunday?
When I finish it on Sunday, I don't think I'm going to finish it on Sunday.
When you finish it, we've got Ireland watching from Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you're going to finish. What's your?
I'll probably just put it. You know, I'll probably just save it until someone asks to buy it. That's what happens with my finished paintings. They sit around, and eventually, down the road, somebody expresses interest in buying them. I don't put them up for sale on some site somewhere. So far, I'm not saying I wouldn't. It just hasn't been relevant to my lifestyle because I'm a contractor painting murals on walls, doing other things, and so I actually just don't get to the management of the canvases. So they're fine where they are. They just sit there. It's not my main. It's not. What am I trying to say? I pay my bills by doing contracting work.
It's not your core business.
It's not my core business. Yeah. And so, we all have so much time. So the time to follow through with posting and unposting and updating and all that, it's easier for me to just keep them around. And then when someone has seen them, and then, I also feel like I get a customer that appreciates the history and has seen, because those are the people that tend to know about these. And I enjoy that.
One of the things I love about YouTube is I was just watching a channel called How Ridiculous. They're from Australia.
Okay.
And they sell merchandise, but they make an entire video about making merchandise. So they'll explode buckets of shirt dye and have the explosion of dye go all the way across 10,000 shirts.
All right. That's cool.
They'll ride their bikes across it with paint on their wheels. And
yeah.
So then when you buy this shirt, like there's a whole history to it. It's and everyone's unique. And it's kind of, I really like the process, and how cool that is they create a story. You're not just supporting them by buying merchandise to support their channel, but they make a big deal out of the entire thing. It's kind of
okay, that's cool.
Painting, and you buy a painting that you got to watch the process. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very satisfying as an artist to feel like your work didn't just get purchased but gets appreciated. You know, it's not great to think of the finished work going to a house that's not lived in, for example. So let's say that somebody has a lot of money, super nice property, nothing wrong with that. But if your work goes to decorate just some investment property where no one lives and where they didn't watch it happen, that, let's just say that that's not as satisfying as when it goes to somebody that watched you paint it and was there and pursued you about it because they saw it. It's just a very satisfying thing aside from the profitability.
So is that where you said this will just sit here till someone sees it and wants it? So is that someone who stumbles on this live stream down the road and they come back and say, hey, do you still have that around? Or that'll happen. Across them?
Yeah, that does happen. People will come years later or months later and inquire about things. And it's really fun to say, oh yeah, that's over here in this pile. Sorry.
Don't call it a pile. You got to package it still.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then at that moment, usually I say, hey, let me put a few touches on it, like just pretty it up before I make the exchange. Kind of like doing that. I'm putting blue and black. You know, I'm just doing gradients going toward a pure black to look like crevices in broken, icy material. But the I'm allowing those shadows to be very blue so that they have that icy look. Lots of color in the shadows so that there's that feeling of translucency to them. That's the goal.
Shadows in translucent things, they act strange to what I'm used to. When I look at something that's in a shadow, it almost looks lighter in some ways because you gain you're not getting more light, but you gain something you don't in a normal shadow. As it's just that the color doesn't wash out as much, and so it has a cool glow to it, even though it's still a shadow itself.
Yeah, if you eliminate the color in shadows, then your object ends up looking more metallic. If you get less colorful as you go into the shadows, you don't get that look of light finding its way all the way into the shadows. But if you maintain a look of like all this blue and these shadows is going to help it look like there's light getting filtered to that dark blue color as it goes into these deep shadowed areas. So, I'm just making real blue areas, and then as they brighten to make it look like it's ice, I'm using that translucent gradient where this blue naturally does it. This phthalo blue leans toward green as I lighten it. So it becomes more of a turquoise kind of color. But if it didn't, I would add my phthalo green as I lighten it in order to capture the look of that glow. On camera, I noticed, well, maybe it comes out on one camera but not the other. But if you don't see a slightly greener hue in the light blue that you do in the dark blue, that's the camera. And this tends to be, in my opinion, the hardest color for cameras to do a good job, the hardest gradient for them to do a good job of reproducing is things that are turquoise, because it's a secondary color. They do a great job with RGB, but trying to do a dark secondary color doesn't go as well for it trying to do that. So sometimes that glow effect that you see in person on a big Caribbean wave or this kind of ice can be diminished by the footage. All right, there we go. We got a big chunk that fell. Now I'm going to see if I can make a splash. We're still on the first pass, so we'll accept it the way it is. We're going to put a big splash in the water, and this we're just going to do a lot of dabbing. Let's get a slightly bigger brush for this one. I'm going to put my purple in there, the top of my splash. This is this is real reflective. If it's a real big splash, we're doing a reflective gradient. So we're back to getting more purple as it lightens. This is getting purple as it lightens to me.
Tuer Klinka. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but
yeah, that's the name of the game. Trying to pronounce the usernames.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
They're wanting to understand your color choices, so I
good.
Appreciate your comments there about in the splash we've got air mixed in there, and the light's not in the object as much as like translucent ice.
That's it. Yeah. So as I make as a splash becomes more like a cloud, meaning being huge. If it's huge, it's more like a cloud because it's got so many little water drops in it, right? And so in that case, the white water has the reflective gradient where it's moving more purple as it lightens. But it doesn't mean purple. It just means more purple than the colors it's coming from. So that's this
right.
Splash
we're rotating
here.
Around the color wheel toward purple.
Yeah. On a reflection gradient, I don't know why this is still a mystery to me, but it seems like on a reflection gradient, it really is just kind of adding purple instead of rotating toward purple.
Okay.
But it's just adding an amount. So the end result isn't necessarily purple. Sometimes it just makes the reflection more gray.
Yeah.
And, I'm just saying observations. It's still a subject of mystery and confusion for me exactly why it happens. But it's very reliable. Very reliable. So if I make this more purple as it lightens, that's going to give me my reflection of the sky coming off white water. Okay, but then if I want something that's more under the water, actually, that's exactly what we're going to do. As this splash goes under the water, it's going to make these reflective bubbles illuminate the water. So this water now is that's where I'm going to use my turquoise. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this part because this will be a good side by side. I'm excited to do this. So I'm going to take my phthalo green and
everyone's already a big fan of this painting, Joe. They're glad to see that you're going to finish it. I think everyone's loving the colors.
Nice.
And yeah, when you start talking about those bubbles going down in the water, that does sound exciting.
Okay, good. All right. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Okay, blue and phthalo green. So now I'm moving the whole thing toward the green, just toward. So now in the case of the glow gradient, translucent gradient, light coming through glacier, light coming through water, it's the glow gradient, translucent glow, I call it a lot. That is moving toward yellow, not just adding yellow, moving toward yellow. So that's what Jonathan's referencing when he's talking about moving toward. So I don't know why it's not exactly the same, but if I went, for example, from a purple to a red, that'd be like moving toward yellow, right? It wouldn't work to do reflection. I said that wrong. So if we're going toward purple, if I went from an orange to a red, that's a better way to say it. So, so that we've got something to look at, let's put some orange on there. If I wanted to put reflection on an orange and you're like, oh, well, Joe says that you move toward purple to put the reflection. Well, it's not going to work because we'd put an orange object in here and we would get down there where we can see our orange object. And so then you would make something more red. Let me get my red, for example. Maybe it would work. Honestly, I don't know that this is true. I'm kind of still trying to figure it out myself. Yeah, let's try it. So we put red on top of the orange. Here's the orange. So if I do this gradient and I want that to look like we just got an orange round rock, okay? And we're just gonna.
I thought you were actually gonna paint an orange. For some reason. I knew we were talking about colors, and I don't know, but I thought you were gonna paint an actual orange with purple reflections.
Right. So now I'm adding the red to this, moving toward purple as it lightens. And it actually does look very much like a reflection on that orange. So don't mark my words. Research for yourself. Maybe it's the same thing with both gradients. Maybe it is.
When you do that,
it has the appearance of purple. It doesn't just look red.
It still has a transition toward yellow, but in the other direction. So it looks like the front there, the orange is the highlight, and the back is the color, and we've got a glow coming through it. So
that's right. That's right. So this would be where the glow would occur.
Flips which one the glow is, or which one.
Yeah. So my confusion was with this pattern. My confusion was I wasn't convinced that it's as consistently moving down the rainbow when doing the reflection as it is with the glow. So the glow, you know, I had the yellow in there, so everyone knows what we're talking about. I had yellow. As it gets lighter, it moves toward yellow and increases in intensity, right? So if you have those things in place, it's glowing. It's a glow gradient, and it's a very reliable pattern. Let's put the brightest spot down here. Glowing with yellow, like this. Let's pile up the paint. This is just a quick study, getting distracted. Okay, and then it moves to the orange, and it ideally drops in color intensity as it moves to that orange. And then if we want to put reflection on top, then that's when we're moving the other direction. But if I make a, but I think where the key component where I did experiments in the past and I felt unconvinced was I forgot that when it drops in intensity, it looks right. So you can't miss the intensity drop or the intensity increase. So when light shines through, you have an intensity increase. Saturation, intensity meaning how much color. Saturation increase as the glow gets filtered to a color. Saturation decrease as the reflection. Oh, battery's running low. Hang on. I forgot to plug in my computer. Give me a second so the computer doesn't.
Another intermission here.
Yes, my bad.
I'll start giving you guys my own color theory here.
No, we got it. We saved it in time.
To do a 3D cube where you've got red, green, and blue going in each dimension.
That would be cool.
Okay. And then draw these gradients going through the cube. Like, where does this line go through that cube of RGB, and what? Like, you graph
that'd be cool.
Three-dimensional space.
If I make T-shirts, that's the kind of stuff I'm going to put on the T-shirts. I think that'd be fun to have real useful information like charts on T-shirts that were merchandised. Wouldn't that be fun?
I think it'd be fun. Let's see what people in chat say. If you guys want T-shirts by Mural Joe of all these interesting facts that he's come across in all this research,
fun patterns.
Let us know in the comments.
That's what it would be. It would be fun patterns. Rule of shifting hues would be on that list. You know, that's what we're talking about, really. It's that rule of shifting hues.
I think it's interesting we were talking about whether you went to college and where did you get your training. It's interesting to me how much teaching you do for having been self-taught.
Yeah, well, I think
your own road, but then you're showing everyone else how to get down that road. I think it's a good thing, but it's interesting.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad. You know, we all just kind of fumble around, find our way through life, right? But for me, when I did start asking questions, I found the answers to be insufficient. When I did start asking other artists, I had an attitude adjustment, you know. And so then I started pursuing people that seemed like they were doing a good job, knew what they were doing. And so when I started doing that, I wasn't getting helpful answers, you know, and I found that to be very frustrating. So when I felt like I was doing the opposite thing, that was a real thrill to me. That was something I really enjoyed.
I think the difference, because there's several people in the chat just today saying how much they appreciate your videos and how much they help for their artwork. And I'm the same.
Thanks.
That's the same reason that I'm here.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, John.
I think the difference is that you delve into why. A lot of people know the rules and they say, do this thing, it works really well. Here's how you should make something glow. And they'll do the same thing you do. They shift toward yellow. It's not like it's unique to you.
Right.
But then you go on to explain it in a way that's like, here's how I remember this. Here's what's happening. Here's how to figure out. It's not just like, oh, I'm painting red, so I need to add orange. You're saying paint red, add orange because it shifts towards yellow. And then you explain why as well. And I think the why is the big thing that is missed by a lot of instruction, not just in art, but all kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I think it's genuinely difficult. You know, if we all know what it's like to not know why, you just don't know. And I think that's where a lot of the art industry is. It's a craft driven by intuition, and intuition isn't like ready armed with all of the answers, you know?
That's almost what art is, though, as far as like when we say art, it's an art or it's a science. And a science says, oh, we figured this out. Here's the formula. And then art says, you know what? I know what's right. I'm not exactly sure why, but this blue streak right here will look amazing. And I can't tell you why, but I'm going to put this here because I know it's going to look good.
I know it's going to look good. Yeah. And in art that's done by that method, I think is really cool. You know, very fun to do. It's what I grew up doing. I didn't know all the whys, but when I needed to do things for a client and I was trying to get better at my craft, that's when I found I was hungry for those answers. You know, as an adult that's pursuing mastery of a craft, you're hungry for answers. So it's a different kind of setting.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I appreciates the you give formulas instead of facts. And when you're teaching, like if I want to know how to paint glaciers, I just need to find any video where someone did a good job painting glaciers and I just copy them. But
there you go.
But if I'm painting something that's like a glacier, if I'm painting my glass beach and you don't have a glass beach video, I can go to your glacier video and I can say, oh, this is what makes this thing glow. And I can go apply it in another painting. So the formula gives answers to more than just this specific situation you're in.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's really good. It's very satisfying work for me, you know, very fun to do it. Here's my reflection of my splash. So I've got my gradient from underneath, just like I did that orange study. I'm kind of doing the same deal.
The final painting, is that staying for the final painting? They're all,
well, if we were painting the containment at the zoo, that could be like the ball that they give them to play with.
I think your painting's too good to leave something random like that in it. I think.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll all just remember that was in it. You know, those of us that watched it come together will remember that was an important phase in the creation.
I think in a couple 100 years, someone's gonna have bought this painting from you, and their grandchild's gonna be trying to sell it, and they're gonna say, "Well, is that a real Mural Joe painting?" And they're gonna pull off some layers of paint to say, "Is that orange?"
There's an orange. Right
if this is a legitimate Mural Joe painting, under the layers, the orange is still there.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be for sure. I like that. That's gonna be cool. I did hear somebody say that they were offered the people at the, I think it was a Michael's art store, maybe a framing shop. They took an old picture in and they wanted it reframed, and they said, you know, you might have something really valuable here if we pull this layer of paint off. If we pull this, looks like there's a painting under this, and a lot of times it's really valuable if you restore the painting that's underneath. But they said they didn't want to because, like, well, we don't want to destroy the painting. We like the painting. So they kept it. And I appreciate it. I really respected that. It wasn't about the money for them. But it was just a really interesting thing to learn. We're gonna have to do
that's a bold choice to. I love the painting on top, so much. I'm not willing to destroy it for the money and the
proof. Yeah.
Which is also a painting that obviously people love, or else it wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's and there's always the chance that you lose. You know, like you might.
You pull the whole painting off. Oh wait, never mind. That was a 6th grader. That's not who we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this one's not valuable. Right. So that could happen too. So it's a gamble. So wherever I want reflection, I'm just using a more purple color. That's what these strokes are. They're more purple. And I'm just putting some ripples on the water, just kind of a first pass at it. Let's get a darker purple color and start making some more spaced apart shapes down here in the foreground like this to get that dark foreground water. Yeah. The dark foreground water will start spacing apart the shapes more, making them less stretched out and flat.
3 Days of Darkness is saying the dark blue in the sea is deep. I see. I don't know if they meant to be so poetic, but
I see.
I see the deep. The sea looks deep right there. It looks like if you went in right there, you're going to go a long, long ways in.
All right, good. That's the idea. You know, we want that drop off. Look, I want these icebergs to look like they go down into the depths. I want it all to look very big. Okay, we're going to have to do a second pass on that, but I think that was a good first pass. Got a good gradient in there.
I think so. Man,
that was a good observation. I really learned the importance of the butt head on the polar bear. In the case of the polar bear, it's a good thing to be a butt head. It has a nice balanced look to it. Very good.
Is that what we're calling everyone with dents now?
It's different, you know, when you got a line right down the middle that divides the two sides. You know, that's the polar bear look.
Yeah.
Maybe they're muscles.
Asking about the weekend live show, and the answer is yes, we're having it, but we're
doing it Sunday.
I'm using we
pretty loosely. Yeah, you send out the email.
Joe
so
will
thanks
have
for
a
that.
live stream on Sunday.
Yeah.
So not Saturday, but it will be this weekend.
Ben will be with us. Sunday. Ben will be with us on Sunday. He'll be taking over. We'll get to hear his deep thoughts. Once again, he'll be back in action. I'm going to be on Saturday. We're doing a Ragnar relay race. I'm going to be with some of my old buddies. Each year we go and we try to do a good job running our different legs of this Ragnar. You can look up Ragnar. You know, it's very silly kind of a relay race out in the wilderness where you're just trading off. You know, you have to do different legs of it. 120 miles split between 8 guys is what it is. 8 people, not guys. 8 people. All right, let's bring our deep shadows.
A little intense.
Well, you know, my share will be. You know what is intense? I'll tell you what is kind of intense. It's surprising to me how difficult it is to run 16 miles when you divide it. When you do it 5 and then 6 or however they divide it, that is not the same experience as doing it all in one run. I have to tell you, doing it all at once is much easier. Much easier. So
your body knows it. It's like, I've done this twice. I know what's coming. And that's not what I want to be doing right now.
It kind of tortures it. It's a very special kind of muscle torment when it's trying to heal from the first time you ran, and then you start running again at a competitive pace. Now, someone who is a great runner is not going to struggle with 3 5-mile legs. That's nothing extreme, you know. But to me, it's just really interesting how much harder it is than the alternative, doing it all in one stretch.
Yeah, my kids' cross country team, they race. I might get this wrong, but I think it's 2 miles for junior varsity and 3 miles for varsity. But to train for that, the varsity team is running an average of 63 miles per week. So they're running 10 miles a day, 6 days a week to train for a 3-mile race, which everyone thinks like it just sounds crazy. Sounds like, you're running 3 miles. Why would you train at 10 miles? But their school does very well at these competitions, and the coaches appear to know what they're doing. They're having the success to come from it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But they do, like, they're high school kids. They don't have the time to go run 10 miles after school. So a lot of them are doing 5 miles before school and then going and running again after school, doing another 5. So they're getting what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's impressive. Typically the longer mileage tends to be dominated by older athletes. So when you get high schoolers doing it, that's on the average just very challenging. That's really good work. They're doing great if they're putting in lots of miles at the high school level.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what happens in a runner's mind, but when cross country is over, instead of celebrating and taking a break, they come up with their own competition between themselves. And this year they're going to do first person to run 100 miles after the season.
What?
You don't have to do it all at once. You can break it.
I see. They're not trying to do like 100 miles. Yeah, I got it. First person to reach 100 after.
To accumulate 100 miles of running after the season's over.
That's a good challenge. I like it.
They, I don't know. They just want to keep running.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's when it's your main deal, when it's like the thing you're trying to be an expert at.
Yeah.
That's kind of like me going off and painting after the live stream's over.
Yeah. Paint for a crowd.
Okay. Not as extreme. I guess mine's not as extreme. I might be over dramatizing my work a little bit.
Everyone's hoping we kind of see some fishes down in that deep blue sea, and we're hoping that they'll.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Intentional. Some of your wave strokes there near the polar bear looking in the water look like they might be his meal.
Yeah, that'd be cool. What if it was like a little penguin do penguins, they probably don't even live in the same place. Do they?
I think they do. I think polar bears actually hunt penguins.
What if we did a little seal, or like one of those little, what do you call those birds that look kind of like penguins, but they're not, because they got a big round, big arched bill,
Bird that looks like a penguin, but it's
I'm
gonna throw that
similar to a penguin, but because they go in and out of water, but they're not like, I think they can fly. A puffin? Is it a puffin? I think it's a puffin. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think puffin sounds.
Yeah.
Those look like penguins a little bit.
Just similar. There's a similar, and so maybe we do something like that. Some kind of a water bird down there, hoping not to get spotted. We won't make any confrontation happening. Things got to eat.
They do. Eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
Those
there we go. We got
options in life.
We got some splashes going on back there. So I can see this is going to be a challenge. We got white on white, and we're trying to, backlight things. I'm definitely going to want to exaggerate some lighting. This lighting will need to be exaggerating to make the picture interesting, because we don't have any bright light source. Nothing's really backlighting the polar bears, but the backlighting will look nice. And that's where I think bending the rules is appropriate. Like makes a picture fun.
Well, that's what in photography, an HDR photo, you really are bending the rules, but you're taking an area that's too light to expose properly to be able to see the dark areas, and an area that's too dark to expose properly to see the light areas.
Yeah.
You take both of the photos, and then you put just the smallest amount of glow that you can around your scene, so that the sky can come into focus and be the right colors, and the shadows can come into focus and be the right colors, and it gives you a very high dynamic range. But there's also something very fake looking about it. It looks amazing because of how much detail's in it, but you also get a sense of like something here. Some of these rules were broken. Something's not quite right.
Yeah. Right. So it can be tricky balancing it. The balance is not simple, but it's worth the effort. Like here, I'm trying to balance how dark do I make this mama bear. I'm gonna say that there's water, there's light from the water, light from the sea coming up and hitting that cheekbone muscle. This is why I did a 3D study, because that's an interesting highlight that I don't want to miss the opportunity for, like having those little colors. Colors are creating shapes, and I want to create shapes that look like my 3D image. Do a good job. So I'm going to backlight. I'm going to put light from the water hitting the chin. I'm going to put light from the water hitting the cheekbone right there, but I can't go too bright. That's probably too extreme right there. There. Chin.
So you said that your lines all have a feel to them for you.
Yeah, that's why I remember them.
And when you paint, you put paint on the canvas and then you blend it. Do you ever put paint on the canvas and the feel of that paint, like the unblended paint stroke has like such a nice feel, it has the right feel, and you don't want to blend it?
Yeah, actually that does happen. Yeah. I would attribute it to the same kind of thing as a line. You do a stroke, and the way it just swipes through is it has a gradient, it has a flow, it looks like there's motion, and it has this nice artistic vibe to it. Sometimes it feels tragic to get rid of those paintbrush strokes. And so I try to be good about saving attractive paintbrush strokes, but my desire for accuracy will work against me in that way sometimes. You can lose the beauty of a picture in the pursuit of accurate details. Sometimes you can go too far. I've done that plenty.
I'm sure that's a thing you can practice as well. You should do a painting that you practice pursuing.
Just saving the attractive
brush strokes. Make
raw
material.
You
can make a whole campaign about save the brush strokes.
Well, I like your idea, Jonathan. I'm stretched in a lot of directions already, It's not that I don't think it has merit and all that.
I don't expect you to take every idea I throw out there. Often I throw my idea out there
just to get it shot down.
I enjoy the idea.
Yeah. I'm also that kind of person. I really like the think tank environment. Just shooting out ideas and being like, yeah, that probably won't work. Okay, next idea. Yeah, that probably won't work. I like that process. It's kind of fun. But if you talk with somebody that really takes all ideas very seriously, it's stressful.
Yeah.
To do that. They don't like to have a bunch of ideas shot at them, because they're like, we can't possibly do these things, And if you're an idea person, you're just like, that's fine. Just say so.
Well, I don't say just say so. I say, that's fine. Give me a better idea.
Oh,
no.
That's extra offensive. All right. We're putting fur on our polar bear. It's the color patterns that are going to make this look furry, and the absence of real sharp edges are going to make this look furry a lot more so than the details I do with my brush. White fur, I'm going to make low contrast from light to shadow to make real thick fur, that makes things look fluffier. And then the color white, I'm going to put translucent gradient in my white wherever I can. Actually, I probably won't do that because it's all white and it's at nighttime. Probably not much translucent glow on this one. But
someone in the comments earlier commented on how polar bear fur isn't actually white. It's actually transparent, and then we're just getting all the light reflecting through all the fur. It gives us this white color.
That's an interesting comment.
Fashion does the same thing, right? The water's not actually white, but it's so broken up that it catches all these little highlights, and together it just looks like it's white.
I think it's true in the case of the white water. But I think if you went to a zoo and sampled polar bear fur, I think you would get pigment. There is such thing as white pigment, and I think polar bears have it. But I'm going to challenge that claim. I like the reasoning because things can be white for that exact reason. But my opinion is, in the case of the polar bears, they do have white pigmented fur.
Have you have you had any gray hairs or white hairs and pulled them out?
I got some white hairs, buddy. Yeah, I got a couple white hairs. Huh?
So I've had some real thick beard hairs that were white, and I've looked close, and they have this look that makes you kind of, I couldn't tell for sure, but made me kind of wonder if my white hairs weren't transparent as well. And they're so small, you don't actually have the details of highlights and shadows. You just see white.
There's an amount. You know, every color looks transparent if you go to a low enough level. My paint pigments are transparent if you put them under a microscope. You got to get enough of them piled on top of each other. But it doesn't mean that the pigment doesn't exist.
Interesting. Good point. Yeah, so maybe hairs are just so thin that you're just getting the transparency of how thick that object is rather than the fact that there's no pigment. That's
my thinking. You know, I'll be the first to say I could be wrong.
Polar bear's skin is black, by the way, which is why.
No way. Is that true?
Well, the comment section said that they're going
to no way
discontinue your channel if we don't accept this as fact.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I don't know why I'm making up facts today. That's
I can
not say that about your channel, but the nose and the mouth are black.
Okay.
So
yeah, right. So the rest of it must be black.
About, like a dog with pink skin has a pink nose.
Yeah.
So the comment section is of the opinion that polar bear skin is black and polar bear fur is transparent.
No, I cannot accept that.
This is the official status of your audience. So
yeah.
We'll have to agree to disagree. Audience one side, Joe on the other side. We're teaming up against you, but
I'm not gonna like do research to try to prove anybody wrong, but I just really don't I don't think they got black skin and clear hair. Of course, I think it's accurate to say transparent though, because water is blue, but we just call it clear because until you have an enormous amount of it, the color of it doesn't really show up.
So as you were saying, you wouldn't do that research to try to disprove anyone.
You were doing the research.
I was doing the research.
But remember, AI has been stuck in a recursive loop for a while. It's not going to give you.
Throwing out my argument. I have to figure it out yet. Okay, well.
If you get an answer from AI, I just wanted to let you know that the data has been tampered with.
Well, so here's what we do then. When you and I are live on scene doing our Aurora Borealis study, and I'm just there to do the co-hosting for you.
Yeah.
We will have to pluck some polar bear hair, shave a little spot side. And we'll
right. Yeah. Okay. All right. If you want to say their hair is clear, that's fine. You know, I can't pretend to be the expert on this. It's just hard. It's more of an issue of belief. It's hard for me to believe that that's true. Doesn't sound right.
Okay, here's a different color for you. Kara is asking, isn't turquoise part of the light blue colors in the ice?
Turquoise part of the I think the turquoise color comes from the water itself, from the ice itself. And as the light shines deep into the ice, it makes it back out and gets filtered that color. But when it just reflects off the top, it hasn't gotten filtered by the deep, by the deep ice or the deep water. So I think this deep blue is the natural color of the water, natural color of the ice. And the light just really gets colored as it goes through it.
We're going to have to start accusing you of rage baiting here. You've gotten more comments on this polar bear skin being black than on any other topic, except for maybe how good your work is.
Okay.
The entire comment section, they're erupting.
Let's see. I'm sorry. You know, you got to be okay with being wrong about these things. Let's keep a light heart. Let's say it's okay. I would love it if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to say hairless, because everybody knows that there are plenty of hairless polar bears.
Hairless polar bear.
What if there's one that has mange? Oh my gosh, is that for real? Look at that.
Oh,
that looks pretty black. Yeah, that skin looks very blackish. But I'd say that's a hairless black bear. Look, it's got a black mane. Dude, hairless bears aren't pretty.
No, I guess there's a reason they have fur.
Thanks, I hate shaved polar bears. Okay, that says polar bear. Are we gonna try to fact check that? Very black snout. And in favor of the argument, the snout is very black where it has shorter fur. This, I don't know where that black hair comes from.
And look under even further up the snout and the eyebrows. Like, look where the eye is.
Okay, I need more pictures. Zoo bear moved after going bald. Let's see what this is. Hold on. What kind of bear is this? Peruvian spectacled bear. Okay. Maybe all bears are blackish when they don't have fur. Maybe it's all of them. Okay, I have to admit I think this points toward they actually do have black skin. I don't see any shorn polar bears with light colored skin in our image search. So I think I was wrong.
You usually teach us, and it took 10 of us ganging up, but we did it.
Well, I didn't say I knew I was right. I was just like, I don't believe it. It just sounds unbelievable, but it's really, this is a fascinating thing. Okay, you proved me wrong. I lost the argument. Good job. Well done. Polar bears have, I'm going to say dark skin. I'm going to call it a dark gray. In the opinion of Mural Joe, it's more of a dark gray than a black.
And, I mean, it matters because we're artists here. We're painting.
We want to get it accurate. If we're going to be accurate.
If you dip your paintbrush in black and you try to paint that polar bear's skin, you're not going to get the right shade. So
right. Now here's something that's going to come back and bite me. I've got this nice highlight on the snow that is pure white. You can get away with that in a few spots, but if I want to make natural light glowing up in the sky, then I probably don't want to have pure white down here on the ground because it's going to make my light in the sky pale in comparison. So I got to think about setting the stage for my light source if I didn't like paint the light source first. So this is tricky because I'm doing white objects, and the temptation to just paint them all actual white pigment is strong, but I'll lose the sense of glow. That's why I'm really trying to focus on dark bluish colors.
Well, and it's a night scene too, right? Do those lights come out during the day?
Yeah, it's a night scene.
The night scene. So,
but you know,
really wouldn't want a lot of pure white.
Well, you can use pure white in a night scene. You just want to, because you don't have to shine a bright light on your painting. A pure white is only as white as the light you shine on the picture. So if this is inside of a house, pure white is as dark as the moon shining on a white thing, you know? So it's the comparison that we care about. We care about the comparison between your brightest element and your darkest element. So if I have the ground that is not a light source, it's just reflecting light, I probably don't want it to be as bright as a light source. So in order to make my picture look nice. So I got to think about that. But this picture is, you know, it's just at the planning stages. This is going to be fun. We got stuff getting the bears' attention. They're looking back. You're going to have northern lights. It's time for me to get out of here.
Yep.
We got to roll. Jonathan, you got more to your day, but I think we made good progress. I learned about the color of a I learned about the color of a polar bear's skin. I got taken to school.
Yeah, Theo says that So Theo's actually has a personal contact with Ken Jennings. Somehow was able to call him. He's got him on speed dial. It sounds like. Called Ken Jennings from Jeopardy, and he said polar bear skin is black. So if Ken Jennings said it.
No, I just want to argue with it. I got to argue again. I was not right. Because I expected it to be like the color of my skin. But I still would not call that black because the pictures I saw were very gray. Very gray.
Yeah. Well, if I'm refereeing between you and the audience, I'm going to try and remove myself and pretend like I didn't argue with you. If I'm refereeing between you and the audience, I'm going to give you each one of the wins. You each get.
Yeah. But I was wrong. You know, I think subjectively speaking, it looks like very black skin, surprisingly black skin. So I appreciate the persistence and letting me know I was wrong about that. That was good. Okay, do we have anything else? Anybody else saying, look at my picture, look at my picture. Let's see.
Someone said they wanted to send something in. I don't know if they did send something in.
I didn't see anything yet, but we're doing another stream on Sunday. Send work to share@muraljoe.com. Sunday morning at 8. It's Sunday. We got to do it an hour later than normal. So not 7 a.m., but 8 a.m. Arizona time. Jonathan sent out the newsletter. And so we'll be back. I'm going to continue on this picture. We'll continue and do more of it. I'll get to the actual aurora effect in it on Sunday. That'll be fun.
It will be. It's looking great.
Okay, this was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. Good seeing you.
Bye.
Thanks for being here.